Dear readers, welcome to our channel. Globally, as the market for new energy vehicles thrives, China's electric vehicle industry is rising at an astonishing speed and scale. In 2023, the export volume of Chinese electric vehicles surpassed that of Japan, a remarkable achievement that has drawn considerable attention. Particularly noteworthy is that a significant portion of these exported electric vehicles found their way to the European market, where Chinese-manufactured electric vehicles are no longer a novelty. However, this raises an intriguing question: why is it that Chinese-made electric vehicles are rarely seen on the streets of America? While there are some Chinese-brand electric vehicles present in the US, such as BYD having manufacturing plants in California, they mainly produce large buses or specialized shuttle vehicles, rather than conventional passenger cars. What lies behind this phenomenon? What constraints do Chinese electric vehicles face in the US market? How do American consumers perceive Chinese electric vehicles? Will this situation change in the future? Let's delve deeper into these questions and uncover the mysterious veil of Chinese electric vehicles in the US market. In my observation, a major factor is the relatively tepid attitude of Americans towards electric vehicles. Not long ago, the independent analysis firm Canalys released data on the global sales of electric vehicles for the first half of 2023, with mainland China accounting for over half of the market share, making it the world's largest electric vehicle market, followed by Europe, with the US ranking third. American consumers tend to prefer hybrid vehicles when purchasing cars. Last year, a total of 800,000 hybrid cars were sold in the US, nearly twice the sales of electric vehicles. Despite being the world's largest consumer of automobiles and the birthplace of renowned electric vehicle brand Tesla, why do American consumers still harbor reservations about purchasing electric vehicles? One of the primary reasons American consumers are reluctant to buy electric vehicles is the high cost. In China, the price of electric vehicles has been decreasing in recent years, with the average delivery price of domestic new energy vehicle models lower than that of fuel vehicles. However, electric vehicles in the US remain relatively expensive, with the average price of electric cars in August this year approaching $60,000, compared to around $45,000 for fuel cars. This is related to consumer preferences. Americans favor large SUVs and pickup trucks, and to obtain higher profits, automakers cater to consumer preferences by focusing on producing larger, more upscale electric vehicles, leading to high prices. Taking the best-selling model in the US, the Ford F-150 pickup truck, as an example, the starting price of the electric version in 2023 is more than $10,000 higher than the gasoline version. Furthermore, Chinese domestic new energy vehicle companies find it challenging to export low-cost electric vehicles to the US due to factors such as policies, tariffs, and consumption habits. In addition to the high price, the maintenance cost of electric vehicles is also relatively high. Although it may seem that the maintenance period of electric vehicles is longer, once damaged, the repair cost may far exceed that of traditional fuel vehicles. According to statistics, the average cost of repairing a damaged electric vehicle in the US last year was around $6,600, more than twice that of fuel vehicles. Moreover, due to a shortage of electric vehicle repair workers, not only are the hourly rates for electric vehicle repairs higher, but the average repair time is also 12 days longer than that for fuel vehicles. There are also issues with charging station services, as the quality of the US charging infrastructure is not very stable. Even in the San Francisco Bay Area, where the charging station penetration rate is relatively high, 1/4 of the charging stations have issues such as unresponsive screens and payment system failures, rendering them unusable. Additionally, in the US, it is not easy for vehicle owners to install charging equipment themselves, with about 1/3 of American electric vehicle owners unable to charge at home. The initial cost of installing home charging stations is high, and for Tesla, for example, in addition to purchasing the charger, additional materials and labor costs are required, doubling or even tripling the equipment price. Moreover, installing private charging stations requires strict requirements for parking spaces, and many Americans do not have fixed parking spaces, making it impossible to install charging stations. The above observations explain why Tesla was on the brink of bankruptcy before entering the Chinese market. It was not until Tesla entered China and gained a large number of consumers' purchases, coupled with the construction of super factories, that Tesla was able to quickly turn the tide. By the end of 2023, the penetration rate of pure electric vehicle models in the US was less than 10%, less than one-third of that in China, which hindered the growth of electric vehicle sales in the US. Most Americans still prefer hybrid vehicles or large pickup trucks, such as the Ford F-150. However, there is no development of electric vehicles for pickup trucks in China. Another equally important factor is that Chinese electric vehicles typically rely on high cost-performance ratios to attract consumers, but entering the US market requires paying a high tariff of 27.5%, significantly weakening the cost-performance advantage. Due to these reasons, Chinese electric vehicles are almost invisible in the US market. Due to factors such as policies, tariffs, and consumption habits, Chinese domestic new energy vehicle companies find it challenging to export low-cost electric vehicles to the US. Furthermore, the maintenance cost of electric vehicles is also relatively high. Although it may seem that the maintenance period of electric vehicles is longer, once damaged, the repair cost may far exceed that of traditional fuel vehicles. According to statistics, the average cost of repairing a damaged electric vehicle in the US last year was around $6,600, more than twice that of fuel vehicles. Moreover, the repair time for electric vehicles is also longer than that for fuel vehicles by 12 days. Considering these factors, Chinese electric vehicles are almost invisible in the US market. Therefore, the US needs to reflect on why the maintenance cost of electric vehicles remains high, resulting in the cost of repairing a damaged electric vehicle being more than twice that of traditional fuel vehicles. In the future, for Chinese automobiles to enter the US market for sales, there are only two possibilities. First, manufacturing in the US, which requires significant investment and a long cycle, while the policy is not particularly stable. The second is to cooperate with some American domestic car companies, such as General Motors and Ford. I personally prefer the latter because these car companies face significant sales resistance both overseas and domestically. Overall, the reason why electric vehicles from China are not seen in the United States is not only due to tariff issues but also largely because the views of American consumers have not changed yet. The reason why electric vehicles sell well in Europe is, on the one hand, due to the smaller land area, with little range anxiety for electric vehicles, and on the other hand, Europeans' environmental awareness is more advanced, and their oil is still largely from Russia, so they urgently need to use electric vehicles to replace fuel vehicles. Finally, let me summarize for readers, hoping you have gained some insights and thoughts. From a policy perspective, the US government sets a high threshold for Chinese electric vehicles to enter the US market. To protect its domestic automobile industry, the US government has implemented a series of trade barriers and tariff policies, limiting the competitiveness of Chinese electric vehicles in the US market. Moreover, the US government has adjusted its subsidy policies for new energy vehicles, increasing the investment cost for Chinese companies in the field of new energy vehicles, further affecting the competitive position of Chinese electric vehicles in the US market. From the perspective of market demand, American consumers have relatively low awareness of Chinese electric vehicles. Although Chinese electric vehicles have competitive advantages in technology, performance, and price, the relatively low brand awareness of Chinese electric vehicles among American consumers leads to relatively low trust. Moreover, American consumers' demand for new energy vehicles mainly focuses on plug-in hybrid vehicles and pure electric vehicles, and the advantages of Chinese electric vehicles in this field are not obvious. From the perspective of brand awareness, the brand influence of Chinese electric vehicles in the US market is weak. Compared with American domestic brands like Tesla, the brand image of Chinese electric vehicles in terms of quality, design, and technology is relatively vague, making it difficult to attract the attention of American consumers. Moreover, due to significant cultural differences between China and the US, Chinese electric vehicles face many challenges in marketing and brand communication in the US market. The development of Chinese electric vehicles in the US market faces challenges in many aspects such as policies, market demand, and brand awareness. Through government support, technological improvement, and brand promotion, Chinese electric vehicles are expected to break through these limitations and enhance their competitiveness in the global market. Only by continuously adapting to market demand, strengthening technological innovation, and enhancing brand image can Chinese electric vehicles achieve better development results in the future. That's all for today's video. Stay tuned for the next exciting content. Bye bye. Bye bye.